Hey, this is Leilani Wolfgram, and you're listening to Bradley's House Podcast.
Nothing is impossible, but certain things are highly improbable. Don't think I'll meet your kind again, not in this lifetime.
Hey guys, welcome back. Come on in, make yourselves at home, as you should when you're a guest in Bradley's house. I am your co-host, Jarett Orr. She is the executive director of the Knoll Family Foundation, and our host, Ms. Kellie Knoll. Kellie, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jarett?
I'm all right. I'm good. I'm not in my usual settings, so I apologize if my sound is a little off to any of our listeners, but we've got to get these episodes out, so when I'm out on the road, we're still recording, and there is no difference, Kellie. You have set up another amazing guest for us, someone that I'm really excited about talking to today, and I know we say that every week, but we always have these amazing musicians that come on and tell these great stories, and this is a band that I've really started to get into over the last probably about 2 years now. Kellie, who is our house guest today?
Tonight, we're fortunate enough to have with us another artist from the house that Bradley built. From Orlando, Florida, guitarist Jackson Hauserman from Kash'd Out. Jackson, thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So I know you guys started in Orlando. Are you yourself actually in Orlando?
Yeah, we started in Orlando, and all five of us are still here.
Right on. And you guys got together in, was it 2014?
Yeah. That sounds about right. That feels 2014.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, something like that.
Tell us how you guys got started.
Well, so I was a studio musician in town. So just basically a hired gun when guys needed a guitar player. You know, if a solo act or a band needed a guitar player in the studio, I would come in and fill in parts. And I went into Greg's studio, Greg, the singer of our band, and
Greg Shields?
Greg Shields, and I hadn't met him yet, but I knew that he had recorded Ballyhoo there, and I'm from Baltimore, so I'm like it's sort of like mandatory that you're a Ballyhoo fan if you know like the genre and you're from Baltimore. So I was stoked to meet him, and really just as a fan of the genre, really, and we met, and we hit it off, and we started talking about forming a band, and kind of just all snowballed from there, really.
Right on. Where have you been in other bands before, or were you just doing session work?
Mainly session work at the time. I had been in just some other kind of smaller bands and projects that never really got going.
Similar music style?
Kind of all across the board. I definitely am kind of have a taste for all genres of music. So all of it had a little bit of like reggae influence, but the other bands weren't as focused as this one. Yeah.
When did you start playing?
Man, to think about this one. I think I was 12. I was in middle school. I was in like 7th grade, and
wow.
It's actually, it's actually kind of cool because the bass player of Kash'd Out, Joey, him and I grew up, playing music together. He grew up in Baltimore with me, and he moved down to Florida just because I was like, hey man, we need a bass player. We can't really find anybody that's like super committed. And he was like, oh, I don't have too much going on. I'll fly down and
nice.
Be a good fit. But yeah. And so we grew up playing music together, and so it's cool to be able to kind of still jam with him. And it's good.
What prompted you to play the guitar? I mean, of all instruments to pick up in junior high.
Well,
girls,
I think I think it's outside of that, I think Jarett kind of hit the nail on the head. But also, I was a big Green Day fan when I was in middle school, and still am. But I just remember listening to Dookie. I was like, man, this album is awesome, and the guitar is awesome, and just everything about this is interesting to me, and kind of it like inspired me to get started. And I still love it. It's great. I love playing guitar.
At what point did you decide to do it professionally?
I always wanted to. Definitely making that kind of leap is scary, and it's so uncertain. And I think that once we really started gaining a little bit of momentum with Kash'd Out, and I felt the chemistry with the guys, and it just felt like the music was writing itself, and it just felt so natural and organic, and it seemed like people were responding to it. I think it's when we really kind of all started to look at it as, hey, this could be, this could really be something, and maybe something we should really dedicate pretty much all of our time to. And so I'd say probably that took place maybe a year after we started. So if we said 2014 was the start, so probably like 2015 then.
Nice. And then you
Yeah.
guys put out your first full-length album in 2017 with Law Records, right?
Yes, and that was like totally a dream come true. I've been a Pepper fan since I was a kid, and it was actually kind of a funny story how that happened. I Kash'd Out was pretty much a bar band at the time. We had a couple like residencies in town, and those were our gigs for the week and for the month, and what have you. And Greg had an opportunity to go sell CDs for Ballyhoo on Warped Tour, and he was like, guys, like I'm gonna go on Warped Tour, and I'm gonna try to get. We had just finished the hookup, and he's like, I'm gonna try to get it into Pepper's hands and see if they're interested in taking it on Law. And all of us in the band were like, dude, we're gonna have to cancel our gigs, and what do you mean you're gonna be gone for 2 months? What are we gonna do?
Oops.
And yeah, and and then 2 months later, he came back and he's like, I did it. I found him. I gave it to him, and we were so stoked, and we still are. I mean, Law Records has been I just can't stop singing their praises. I mean, they've been so helpful to us. They've been nonstop supportive of whatever creative decisions we want to make. Like, the best way I can put it is, their attitude is just, what do you want to do and how can we help? And that's kind of always been their attitude, and they're just the best. I mean, I guess I'm a little biased, but I really feel like a total soft spot in my heart for Law and everybody associated.
I absolutely agree with you, because Paul Milbury is one of my most favorite people on the planet.
Isn't he a sweetheart?
Yes, he's amazing. He's the one who came up with the whole idea for the house that Bradley built, and then made it happen in a very short period of time, and just has like constantly blown all of our minds over and over for the last year. He's just an incredible human being. I love him. Of course, Yasad. I mean, everybody loves Yasad. Everybody knows Yasad. Everybody loves Yasad. Awesome.
I was just thinking that as we sit here, this is like, I don't know, out of like 30 some episodes, we've had like 24 people just say amazing things about Paul and Yasad, and nobody says anything bad about them. It's pretty amazing. So it's an ongoing thing. Now, Jackson, I got to ask, where'd the name Kash'd Out come from? Because you got a K, there's a sky comma, there's a lot of things going on there. It's not your typical way of having Kash'd Out spelled out. So was there a meaning behind it? How did it all come to play?
Well, so I've got some thoughts on this. So first of all, it's like, supposed to pay homage to a finished bowl, some people think it's like,
Yeah, that's
cash
depressing,
money.
though.
Not
Like, that's the first
case.
thing I think of. Like, is the Bulls cashed? Shit.
Maybe there's a glass half full situation going on though, because then that means at one point shortly before it wasn't, right?
And maybe it won't be again.
Yeah, yeah. And the dude, as far as the K and the apostrophe goes, I wish we had not put in the apostrophe because trying to, especially early on, trying to get people to Google the band was a challenge. Yeah, because you had to be like, Cashed Out. And first of all, they're always like, first thing is Cash Cow. And you're like, not quite, Cashed Out. And then with the K, though, and the E that's supposed to be in it, forget the E.
Not so much.
It's yeah. So
I don't know. I like the apostrophe. I think you're going to be happy that you went with that. It's going to set you apart. I like it.
Oh, well, thanks, man. I think it looks cool, and I think that's what we were going for. But as far as like Googleability, if that's a word, I think it's been a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah. And before we move on from that, can we just address the fact that, Jarett, you called that apostrophe a sky comma?
Yeah, that's right.
I love that.
Did you make that up, or is that something your kids taught you? Or
Did I make that up, or is that the technical term? What are we doing here, Kelly?
Sorry. There's no way sky comma is the technical term. Okay, I'm sorry. We'll move on. So on the 2017 album, sorry, I'm still on sky comma. Howie Spangler actually was on one of those tracks, right? On Being Easy.
Yeah.
So you went from being a fan of Ballyhoo to having him on your album. That's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, that's like definitely been, like my experience with this whole thing is it's been cool to, get to work with the guys that, it inspired me to get into this whole world,
Yeah.
and Howie is definitely one of them, and as are the guys in Pepper, and I mean the list really goes on and on. Truly Sublime, obviously. So, I mean, it's definitely been awesome. It's this has been a dream come true, and I'm excited to keep going.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about the reggae rock scene right now is how collaborative it is. So, you get different artists featured on different people's tracks, and I think it just kind of, helps to kind of pull everybody together. I think it's wonderful.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a really neat aspect of this world, and I wouldn't want it any other way. It's cool. It's cool to get to work with, guys you admire and then become your friends, and guys you meet on tour, or
right.
It's just a cool thing, and I'm lucky to be a part of it. I feel really grateful to be involved in this genre.
You guys did an incredible cover of Slow Ride for the House That Bradley Built. The minute I heard it, I was like, this is phenomenal. Like, you gave it your own spin, but we're still true to the song, and but just made it very distinctive, very much in Kash'd Out style. How did you guys decide on Slow Ride?
So, first of all, thank you. And that was one of the songs when I was telling you about the bar band days. Slow Ride, it was a staple of our 4-hour, late night bar gig set, basically. So when it was when it came time to pick which song we were gonna do, we had already been having so much fun with that song, especially in we call it like the skit part, where when we do it live, Greg had been going like do 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 with the phone, and then we would just like say kind of whatever we were feeling that night, and then go back to the song. Yeah, so it was we were like pumped. All of us at the same time were kind of like Slow Ride, right? Like that's what we're doing.
You just knew, huh?
Yeah.
Love it.
In my early years of fandom, I would listen to that song and I'd be like, man, who does this bitch think that she is? You don't talk to him that way.
Get it through, babe. Well, they were dating in all fairness. But that was not a real recording.
Yeah, it better
Everybody
not
knows
be.
that, right? Okay. I've had people ask me that before, like, was that real or was that pretend? No, it was staged for sure, but they were actually dating at the time.
Oh, this is exciting. This is cool. This is like deeper into the lore that I didn't know.
Yeah, that was Brad's girlfriend Eileen at the time. She was wonderful.
Oh,
Love her.
awesome.
So what did you guys do to survive the pandemic? I mean, you were just getting revved up, getting started, got some momentum, and then boom, everything shut down.
Yeah, yeah, definitely bad timing for, I mean, for everybody in the world, pretty much.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, we were going in. We had planned to do an acoustic album, so you know, and also we really kind of feel like we got lucky in a way because we had just finished tour um, with Pepper and the Elevators, and
Mm,
that tour ended on in Santa Cruz. So we had like a 3-day drive back to Florida, and like every day of that drive, it was like when we left, it was kind of like, you know, you heard that there's a sickness, but it was like, oh well, we're not going to cancel any shows though. That would be preposterous, you know. And then like every day back was like, oh my god, so and so just shut down, and you know. And then by the last day, it was like, oh my god, the NBA closed. Like this is crazy. And so we really like just right as the door was closing, we squeezed that tour in. So
nice.
we were grateful for that, and then we had planned to do an acoustic album, and we went right into the studio to do that just because kind of conveniently we already had the days booked. And I think that, you know, really we did kind of what everybody else had time for all of a sudden, which was write, you know. And
Yeah.
I think that that's like one silver lining, I guess, of the whole situation is that it's been cool. Like now we're sort of in the echo of 2020 musically, where all the music that got written last year is coming out now. And I think that
Right.
it's like so exciting to see just like wave after wave of music, and you get to see what, you know, bands are capable of without any sort of like touring created deadline, you know, like where you can just, everybody had like a full year to kind of be creative with no sort of time frame of, oh, we have to be back on the road at this time, so we need to finish
Right.
this now, you know. So it's cool to hear all that coming out. And we just released a new song called Way Too High for this, and we have a whole bunch of more music coming out. And so yeah, I mean, definitely a lot of writing, and um, just looking for ways to be creative as much as possible.
You know, I've mentioned it as a joke a few times on this show, but every joke is half the truth. And I think that a lot of music fans, are all sitting back thinking to themselves, like, my favorite band better be coming with some fucking fire, because they've had nothing better to do than write amazing songs over the last, I mean, almost 2
Yes.
years now at this point. And then on the flip side, I think about the pressure of the musicians that are trying to do that, because they're also in a completely different state of mind and doing things that they've never had to do before, with not being able to go out and tour. And so, like, when you're in your writing process, are you getting a lot of, you know, I would think being out on tour and the experiences of being together and being in the van and going to the next place, like, you get a lot of motivation to write. Has it been more difficult not having those motivators?
You know, I think, like, I can only speak for me, but for me, and the guys in Cash Out, I think it's kind of been the opposite. I think that the slowdown and uh, just to have the time to kind of like get out of our own way has been really important. Um, and I think that like the inspiration, tour or no tour, is abundantly present anyway. And I think that just the time has kind of allowed us to just like take a step back and like I said, like get out of our own ways and like make time for creativity to happen. And I think that it's been definitely a good thing for us. Like I'm so proud of the new Cashed Out album, and I cannot wait to put it out. It's by far my favorite work that I've ever had the opportunity to be a part of, and we're just, the whole band is like over the moon excited to release it. So
And that makes sense too. Obviously, having the extra time to be creative and not having the pressure of being on the road, I can see how that could also be beneficial. But I know that the fans are definitely excited about this new Cashed Out album, and it's really cool to watch. As bands and musicians kind of progress as they're coming along, and for you guys to have this extra time. For instance, I remember hearing an interview, like before Biggie died, and they talked about how different his second album was from his first album. And he said, my first album was about selling drugs and being on the streets and doing gangster shit. And I got money now. I'm not doing any of that stuff. So of course my new album's going to be different because I'm different. And I think it's exciting to see as some of these bands have progressed. And like I said, I know you guys have been on the scene, I guess, for quite a while, but it's been about 2 years now that somebody shared a YouTube video in one of the groups, and I took notice to you. And then when I saw that you guys were featured on the compilation album from Wall Records, and Slow Ride also being one of my favorite Sublime songs, I jumped on it. And Kelly is right. I mean, you guys really nailed it and made it the same but completely different. Like, I knew what I was listening to, but I was getting it in a different way, and it was just it was an amazing tribute to that song and to the band.
oh, well, cool, man. I appreciate you saying that. It was definitely a lot of fun. It was fun, and it's been like really cool to listen to all the other bands' takes on Sublime songs. Like they're like you said, they're songs that I'm so familiar with, and it's just been cool to hear different versions. And I love how off the wall and creative some of the covers have been. I mean, they're just like outstanding. Like, some of my favorites are Pacifiers was really good. I really liked that one. I liked The Elevators. I liked the Mad Caddies. I thought did an awesome job. Those are just a couple that come to mind. But yeah, I agree with you. As a fan listening, that was like really exciting for me too.
Yeah, I'll tell you. So obviously, Brad being Kelly's brother, she always kind of, looks at it a little different. I am a Sublime fan. So I get to take that position on this show. And when the compilation album was getting put together and coming out and being released, I was totally like, oh, fuck. Because I just never like people playing Sublime songs. I want to hear Brad playing Sublime songs. And I was like, I am just not interested in a cover album. I'm just not. And even though a lot of these bands are bands that I absolutely love, but when you start listening to it, you realize, and I've mentioned it on the show before, that it's not a cover album, it's a tribute album. And it's bands paying tribute to a musician and a band that meant a lot to them. And in some cases that, they meant a lot to Brad. So it was really amazing to hear all of the different renditions. And when you look at it as a tribute and realize it, and there's really not a song on the album that I dislike. And when I first saw that it was coming out, I was like, there might be one or two songs I could tolerate on here, but the rest are going to drive me nuts. And that just hasn't been the case. So if you guys are listening to this, make sure you hop on to law-records.com, pick up the compilation album, The House That Bradley Built, although we've been talking about it until we're blue in the face, because it's something that I know that Kelly and her dad and the entire foundation, everyone is just so proud of. And I have tried to pry Kelly's favorite song out of her, and she genuinely doesn't have one. It's top to bottom. She is just so appreciative of every single band that put the time in to do this, and it's just amazing. So for you to be a part of that, I'm sure was awesome for you, but for us as fans, it was really great because, again, it was an amazing rendition that you guys did.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it definitely was an honor to be a part of. When Paul hit us up about it, we were like, yes, yeah, of course, yes. When as soon as possible, yes.
Oh,
And it's just to, I mean, man, like I don't want to parrot exactly what you said, but I agree wholeheartedly. To be in any way involved with, um, the uh, universe that is Sublime, is, like I said before. I mean, it's such an honor, and Sublime's music meant so much to me, and so much to the rest of the guys in Cashed Out too, and I mean, still does, of course, and to be associated with it, and to for this to go to such a important cause, I think is just like icing on the cake. It's
absolutely.
I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm really without words. We're honored.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Jackson. I appreciate it. Now, you guys are going to be at Cali Roots next year, right? In May?
Yes. Yep.
Awesome. Wonderful. We're going to be there too. So I look forward to meeting you and hearing you guys play.
I can't wait. It's going to be great.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us. We really appreciate it. It's been great getting to know you, and hopefully, this will give our listeners a chance to check you guys out too. If they want to hear more, what are some of your website, social media? Where can they check you guys out?
Well, our socials are all Cashed Out Music, and as we said before, KASHD Out Music. And then we're on Spotify and Apple Music and all the stuff.
Right on. And I do hope people check you guys out. You guys have a great sound, a nice, mellow, happy vibe. It's definitely a breath of fresh air, in these crazy times that we're having. So please keep making some great music, and we look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Oh, thank
Bye-bye.
you, man. Kelly, Jackson from Cashed Out was a lot of fun, and it's a lot of fun. I just like their name. It's Cashed, it's a K. There's that sky comment in there. It's fun to say, it's fun to talk. Cashed Out. Yes, I had a
It's a
good
great
time with
name.
this one.
Absolutely. And I checked out their tour schedule. They're going to be playing with our good friends in Badfish coming up in January through mid-March on the Midwest over to the East Coast. So if you're over on that side of the country, like Jarett is, make sure you check out their tour schedule on their website, cashedout.com. It's got links to all the dates and tickets and all that kind of stuff. And I saw they're playing in Little Rock, Arkansas on Brad's birthday in February. Not that there's any significance to Little Rock. I just thought that was interesting.
Well, yeah, that's awesome. It's I'm a huge fan of Bad Fish. That's going to be a good show to get out and see for
Yeah,
sure.
they're such great guys and talented musicians.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Cashed Out, featured on the House That Bradley Built compilation album. Guys, I know that we keep talking about it, but it's because we're so excited about it. And that's why we keep having these musicians come on. We get to hear a little bit about their story. And for everybody that's been listening to the House That Bradley Built, it's kind of neat, myself included, to be able to find out a little bit more about some of these musicians. Because, yeah, there's a ton of huge named musicians on there, but there's also some pretty cool up and comers, and it's neat to be able to kind of hear a little bit about them as you're listening to the album. And of course, the album is available at law-records.com. You can pick up the House That Bradley Built, and you can also get information on a lot of the artists that are signed to Law Records, who we've had right here and had the opportunity to chat with, including Kelly. It might be time to get Paul and Yasad back on, right?
Ooh, that's a great idea. They're always fun to talk with.
Yeah, we had
That
a
is a
great
very good
time.
idea. Yeah, we did. And they've got stories for days, those two. They're
Plus,
so much fun.
anytime I can get anyone on and just kind of nerd out and talk sublime stories with, I'm totally in. So, but yeah, guys, check out the compilation album. The holidays are coming up. The House That Bradley Built is a wonderful stocking stuffer.
Yes.
So go ahead and pick that up and know that all of the proceeds go directly to the Knoll Family Foundation in the efforts to get Bradley's house up and running. Of course, you guys can visit the knollfamilyfoundation.org. Lots of awesome things going on there. Just some information about the foundation, all the stuff that's going on. You can get links for the podcast. And of course, you can click on the merch. Kelly, there's some new cool merch items up on there, right?
Yes, just last week in time for the holidays, we got our brand new sock from our friends at Merge 4. They did this really cool sock with the Bradley's House logo all over it. Different from the other ones that we had before. And these are really cool. My kids love Merge 4 socks. They are such big fans. Everybody who sees the socks, touches them, feels them, goes nuts over how soft they are, how comfortable they are, and they're really, really high quality. So I highly recommend any of Merge 4's socks, but we're super excited about the logo socks they did for us. And also our friend Marco Almera, who's a well-known Southern California artist, did design for us, the Bradley's House design for us as part of our artist series. And those pins are now available on the website as well. We've got a regular colored one and a gold and a silver and a red, gold, green version and an anodized version, which is super cool. So definitely check those out. Those make great gifts.
Yeah, guys. And again, every penny goes directly towards getting Bradley's house up and going. So we appreciate all of the support. Those Merge 4 socks, like when those Merge 4 socks and like these socks started becoming a thing, I'm like, I don't know. I own a million pairs of socks. Socks are socks. What difference does it? Socks are not socks, I can assure you. The first time I put those Merge 4 socks on, I was like, holy shit, this is a whole new ball game as far as socks go. So trust me, guys, do yourself a favor, pick up those socks. It turns out that I don't know if you saw this, Clay, but they did a recent survey that 100% of people with feet at some point will wear socks in this country. So,
fascinating.
Yeah,
our tax dollars at work doing that research, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've got a deep research team for my podcast endeavors. They come up with stuff for us here. So so what I'm saying, guys, is pretty much everyone that is a possibility for a pair of Merge 4 socks, and you can get them right at the knollfamilyfoundation.org and get some awesome socks, and of course support the Knoll Family Foundation and getting Bradley's house up and running. Check us out on YouTube, guys. We have the Bradley's House page up there. Not only do we put every single podcast lined up there, so you guys can go back in the archives and check out Miguel and Marshall and Papano and Jacob and all of the amazing guests that we've had, but we also have the songs up from the House That Bradley Built, so you guys can check all of those out as well. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It means a lot. Every day I wake up and there's a couple more subscriptions on there, so it means a lot to us. And wherever you're listening to this podcast, go ahead and leave a comment. Kelly and I see them all, and it really does mean a lot for us to see that you guys are enjoying this, and it also means a lot as far as building the following and getting sponsorships on board. So all of that stuff is a big help for us. Of course, in the description of this show, right down there, if you guys just scroll down, see right down there? Okay, there it is. Yeah, right there. If you'll scroll down right to there, you can see that we got the description. You can go ahead and click the link, and it'll get you to everything Knoll Family Foundation. So we can't thank you guys enough. Thanksgiving was... it was busy for me. Sick kids is what I did for Thanksgiving. So hope you guys had a wonderful Thanksgiving. And here we are. It's December 1st. Kelly, we're staring down. All right, Kelly, for like the last 30 years, there's been a single day in my life that I've been staring at and waiting. And I've just been staring at it on my calendar. And for years, I've been like, wow, it's only 17 years away. Well, in 14 more years, in 9 more years. And here we go. In just a few short months, it's going to be fucking 2/22/22, and I couldn't be any more excited about this. It's something that just is like I'm circling the day. It's going to be a big day for me. So
that's so funny that you mentioned that. because I was looking on the Kash'd Out website, just talking about how they're playing Little Rock on Brad's birthday. And while we were talking, I'm all, oh, look at that. It's going to be 2/22/22. But we were already onto something else, and so I didn't bring it up. But leave it to you. I'm so glad you did.
At some point during that day in the afternoon, it is going to be 2/22 and 2/22/2/22. And at that exact moment, nothing could be wrong in the world. For 1 minute, everything will be completely right as all of those twos are perfectly lined up. So we're looking forward to jumping into 2022. Of course, we still have some great episodes coming your way for the rest of 2021. And then we're going to come into the new year, and we're coming in fucking hot, guys. So get ready. We've got some big guests, some big shows, lots of cool ideas. Cali Vibes is coming up. I'm super excited about that. Just a lot of awesome stuff to look forward to. So thank you guys so much, and stick with us through the holiday season, and keep enjoying Bradley's House. We'll keep enjoying doing them for you. Kelly, obviously at the end of every single episode, we like to leave our listeners with a song. What are we going to hear this week?
Well, obviously, we're going to hear Kash'd Out's cover of Slow Ride from the House that Bradley Built.
Guys, thank you so much. Until next week, I'm Jarett Orr. She is Kelly Noel. We are out of time. You don't have to go home, but it's time to leave Bradley's house.
When it's time to get ready, always has her way, always leaves me waiting by the phone. She told me more than once to take it slow, and I said okay. Lately I've been sleeping all alone. Oh, I'm not breaking up inside, I'm much too proud to moan. She laughs inside, words that burn like fire in my mouth, yeah. Try to be the man like I got the master plan. Night out on the town, drinking, dancing, we can turn it out. Oh, maybe it's how your body moves, I just don't know. Maybe it's just the way you move so slow. Play myself for a fool. Swear that I would do most anything. Hey, nah. Walk a mile just to see her smile. Walk a mile just to rock for a while. Babe, I'm thinking with my ting-a-ling. Oh, I've been doing some thinking now. I just don't know. Maybe it's just the way I move so slow. Maybe 'cause you move so slow. Maybe 'cause you move so slow. But sitting on the verge of tears does not become my 22 years. You took my shame and you took my pride. Now you're gonna take me for a slow ride. Waiting on the